Hello, guys, and welcome back to another play day here at ESA Cup. I'm still Mighty, and of course, this isn't a one-man show. I have brought a friend. It's Delta Beacon. Hello, Delta. How you doing?
Good, very good, very good. Looking forward to some good seats today. Lower bracket grand final, I should say. Winner of this will go straight through to the grand final. Loser, they're going home. Should be good.
Should be good. Another match with another loser that will leave the tournament. We only have one more spot left for the grand final at this Sunday. Which team will it be? Will it be LDL or will it be SilentFamily? I think both these teams have absolutely shown that they deserve to have this opportunity to gain that final spot and going into the big prize money. Of course, one of the teams will lose today and will grab a small amount of prize money and will be crowned third place of this season 9 here in ESA. But that ain't the goal for these teams. These teams want to reach for the high amounts. These want to reach for the grand final at Sunday. But of course, this is a best of three, and a best of three always craves some maps.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. We're just going to go quickly over, have a cheeky little look at the map bands here, and we've got an interesting lineup for you today. Both of these teams playing very much to their strengths. We can see there that LDL, they've pushed right through, banned off Clubhouse and Chalet, the Lair, the board have banned out in response. We're going to go to Bank. Now, Bank, LDL have picked it 4 times. They've also gone on to win it 4 times. Absolute 100% success rate over on Bank. Is that a mistake, I wonder, for SilentFamily to let Bank reach that stage, to let it get to the point where Bank is on the table?
Is that enough or is it not? That is the real question that we need to answer after this match. And some say, I would pretty much say, both these teams are currently known that they play a lot of big scale maps. They love these big scale maps, but especially giving LDL the advantage of saying, okay, we will rather play a map that we're not that good at instead of playing our very best map in that scale of map types is somehow a big gamble because we know for a fact many people said LDL are like the top favorites for the ESA Season 9 crown, and they still are. They had a little bit of an unfortunate run. That's why they are down in the low bracket and not already up in that grand final section. But they have fought their way through. It's fair and square. And I would say, still, from this perspective, LDL will have the advantage point. And I would just say, when we're talking about advantage points, we always talk about having a beautiful underdog story. I would say, do we have some minds about that in our prediction? What do the other staff members of ESA think about this? Is this more LDL or is it a little bit of SilentFamily? And if we look at these votes, Delta, I think they're pretty clear and they're definitely talking LDL.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's too much of a surprise. Going through the Swiss bracket, LDL, they finished first in Swiss. When you go off the map difference, the round difference, you look at all these metrics, they finished plumb top. SilentFamily, they had a bit of a rougher run. They finished 3-1 in the Swiss stage, so still a very strong performance, very strong qualification period, but they qualified technically fifth in Swiss, and the round differential between the two teams through that Swiss period, and you've got to take into account there that LDL played one less game, was 13. LDL won 13 more rounds when you account for the additions and subtractions than SilentFamily. So there's a backtrack of success, a good history of success with LDL right the way through the tournament, as you say.
Right away, they did start off with a good head start. They showed themselves why they are the favorite in the name, and that also says upon it all. I think LDL will definitely try to prove their side of perspective, saying our fifth position wasn't like given to us by anyone. We earned it for a fair square. And that is this perspective that also SilentFamily has to take in perspective of saying, okay, we got to fight back everything that we so have of staying in this game, especially when you're playing a map at first that is LDL favorite, very hardly LDL favorite, and then you're playing a map that is good by your side, but also very good, well known by LDL. So you just, I would say, for SilentFamily is like a matchup where they say we gotta fix and look for any possibilities of going to the full distance of the decider map. For LDL, it's just saying, okay, let's focus on these 30 maps and just see if we can capitalize on these very first rounds against SilentFamily of maybe closing it out early. Because I have got to say, I think it's a little bit of an uneven match. I don't want to say that one team is much better than the other. That isn't the case. It is even enough. But I would say LDL might have a slight inch or two ahead start of SilentFamily because LDL is like a team that has proven themselves over multiple seasons that they've very much earned themselves a top spot in the EU sector.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think LDL definitely the favourites coming into this. Not only off past performances, but even going as recently as the last games that both of these teams played. Silent Family in their last game, they were very much punished by MVG, who obviously went on to the grand final. They were punished for these little bursts of early aggression, which they didn't get worked out of the game quick enough. They lost that first map 7-1 against MVG, which I believe was on bank. And being punished for these things, being punished really very quickly, being at a man or two disadvantage, 30 seconds into a round sometimes. It really wasn't conducive to them putting their imprint on the game. You were always fighting uphill from there. So what I maybe would like to see from Silent Family in combating LDL, which is going to be a bit of an onslaught if you believe the predictions, if you follow up all the match history. I'd like to see them just retain a little sense of calm. You don't need to go and win the game in the first 20, 30 seconds. Okay. There's 3-minute rounds. You can take your time. And one thing that I do notice is when it's flipped and they are on the defensive and they are working that little bit better together, is they're actually a really good team at managing the time. It's just these
They are
little
a good
bursts
team.
of early aggression that really make them struggle. Okay, if they can work that out of their game, or if they can make it work, of course, that'll be that. I think that's going to be what's going to make it a competitive game for us.
I'm completely on your side with that. Another thing that I just want to mention, we're always talking about like the game intellectual and also the game knowledge, and then we have the mechanical skill. And the
Yeah,
mechanical skill, I have to say, without a doubt, is directly going in the hands of LDL. So Silent Family has to have the minds in that and saying we're not going to overpeak. We gotta play it like you mentioned. They gotta play a little bit more chilled. They gotta play it a little bit more controlled, and especially when they're playing it a little bit more laid back and controlled as they should do against LDL. They definitely need to be focused and say we gotta get these bullets on target if we so are going into these gunfights. As soon as you not hit these first two or three, 1, 2, 3 bullets, LD will definitely wreck you upon in these gunfights because these players, Spell as Saka and Amadara, they are known that they will just wreck you over if they so need.
yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. LDL, they're a team where I think you probably could make the argument that they've got a couple of impact players. They've got Harv and Ilias, really, really good players that are just capable of picking up frags from nowhere. But the whole team mechanically is able to frag. They can all click on heads good. To be very blunt about it, we saw in that game last week where they booked their place in this lower bracket grand final.
Mm,
We saw last week them pull together and have some of these rounds where you know Harv was maybe kept a little quiet, Ilias kept a little quiet, and the rest of them stepped up. So it's not a team that I think needs one particular person to rest upon the back of. Okay, they don't have one
mm,
person who they say you're carrying us today. That's just not how they work. Okay, LDL,
definitely not.
as you say, they're all exceptionally mechanically gifted.
Definitely. And let's focus a little bit more back on Bank. Bank is the first map that we will see in this best of 3 series. It is the map pack of LDL. They will begin, we can somehow spoil that already. They will begin in the defense, as you already saw in the map pan section. And that somehow calls upon my mind and says, okay, their map pack, they're beginning in defense. Like I would say, it's a quite even out map, but you have some slight more bits. You can pull these rounds a little bit better off in the defense. So if you maybe get a head start against SilentFamily on a map that they just last week had a rough start at and a rough begin in their best of 3 series last week, um, this could definitely hurt them. And the fact that is poking me a little bit is Bank is a map with a lot of utility is needed, where a lot of intel is needs to be gathered. And I just want to ask you, Delta, what are like the main things that SilentFamily need to look into and also set their mind straight if they when they now go ahead and play against LDL on a map like Bank? What are the certain things that they need to focus on?
One of the things the LDL were really good at last week on Bank, again when they booked their place in this grand final, in this lower bracket grand final, was they were really good against a methodical attack. by getting out there and disrupting it. So what I mean by that is, there's a couple of different philosophies in how you attack places on Siege. Mine is that not only is there defensive setups, but they're also attacking setups. By say a minute, if let's hypothetically say you're on Clubhouse, by a minute you want to have that CCTV breach on a CCTV site, right? You want to hit that
Mm.
fairly early. So all of this is what I like to call attack setup. Now LDL were really good when they were attacking him, when they were defending against MG Wit. MG Wit had a really methodical attacking setup. LDL were very, very good at disrupting that, either by putting pressure on players who were trying to breach or set up lines of sight, or by peaking and not conceding death to it too often. Either getting a pick and retreating or just wasting a little bit of time. They were very, very good at that. To break that, SilentFamily, they're going to have to be exceptionally methodical, and the utility usage in particular is going to have to be very, very strong and on point. But we're not going to have to wait too much longer. No more pontification from us. We're going to jump into the operator bans, and we're going to get started on Bank.
So we will get started off on Bank, and we are in that final moment. We are going into the ban phase of these operators, and we're seeing Bank, and immediately it hits myself. Okay, do we see the all meta? Do we see shields? Do we see the new meta with a Blackbeard, or do we just see the more standard things on Bank, like a Zero and a Valkyrie? We're definitely seeing a Monty at first. Monty is a very interesting first one. Yes, he got a little bit nerfed with all the recent reworks. Once again, on the shield operators, we had a huge problem with the manifesting of the shield operators in the recent season. So that has been pulled back a little bit, but we definitely need to see about these chances. There are still teams that are very willing to play a lot of these shield operators and also the Blackbeard. I think Delta, there's not enough to talk about the new Blackbeard, is it?
No, Blackbeard's exceptionally powerful. We actually saw MVG use Blackbeard to book their place in the grand final not too long ago against SilentFamily. So strange to see them not ban it out here. Brava ban, that's not one that I would maybe expect coming out from SilentFamily. I maybe would have expected them to ban the Blackbeard, being the recipients of that. But the Cade ban, now when SilentFamily played against MVG, they were disrupted on their attack on Clubhouse by some absolutely exceptional clash play. Now, obviously, different map, different context. It does surprise me to an extent that they've gone for a breach denial over the clash, which they really, really struggled against. Maybe they don't rate LDL's clash play as highly. Maybe LDL simply don't pick clash that often. Both of these teams, they'll have done their research. The Vigil ban, that comes last. A little bit of intel denial, and it's never a bad ban, is it?
It's never a bad ban. It's an operator that can bring a lot of disruption to your game flow, very much being, I would say, a pin needle up your back of saying, okay, I'll just try and get on your nerves, and that very often it's quite early on. So that is definitely one of the operators that are very often picked out, just saying, okay, we don't have to deal with him. Just like you mentioned, like a Clash, okay, she's one of the operators that are very late in the rounds when you have to face her, but still an operator that you just very often ban out of saying, okay, at least we don't have to deal with that operator anymore.
Bomb located.
But in the factor of Vigil, SMG12, OSG, I think that speaks for itself.
Reloading.
Yeah, we've seen Vigil use some great effect so far in the competition. With LDL, there's no reason to expect that would change. We're seeing a reasonably standard site setup here from LDL. They've not reinforced that far side of the wall into servers. So that could be an interesting rush if SilentFamily have done their droning. Droning not their strong point in games gone by, so I'm wondering if they've maybe worked on that over the weekend. SilentFamily, naturally, they've actually had a longer break since their last match than LDL have. LDL, this is their their third match in 5 days. So that's a lot of games to get played.
A lot of games, but it also means that they should be pretty much warmed up and ready to get in these gunfights, and also have manifested themselves and saying, okay, we gotta focus, we gotta lock in now because we're in the hot phase and there's still so much ground that this needed to be won, of saying, okay, we can go into the grand final and have another shot on a huge prize pool like this one here at ESA. But let's face it in, we're already in that first round, and we see a quite offensive standing here by LDL, but SilentFamily by Glock, But Goku immediately pulling out Madara. That is a huge opening frag with Madara gone on the dock. So that means no strong anchor operator remaining in that lineup.
Yeah, and the droning, it's night and day from the other week as well. We can see them using drones to actually force Valkyrie out of that elevator position where LDL really good at holding. More gunfights coming out, but Teemo, they're going to pick off Ilias now, and now SilentFamily, they've got 2-man advantage. They've got a lot of time, half the round left, to go ahead and attack the site, and they're going to slowly start moving through. But LDL, they're employing this defense in depth technique, which they used to great effect last week, where they're holding and fighting for every inch of ground, and there's the first instance of it coming right out. Harvey, they'll get the kill, they'll drop, and they'll claw one back for LDL.
Beautiful first kill, and I gotta say, that kill on the IQ of Teemo, that should have been the first opening kill for LDL, because it was pinged out completely, but they don't get any effect of it. But Hugo is back of getting another kill on Lunar, and as with that, Harvey also falls in the hands of Hugo, and it is a 4v1 scenario. And this round should go in the hands of SilentFamily, as Moti gets the last kill done to the mirror and closes it out. And that means SilentFamily immediately, I won't only say evolves, but shows a complete new game phase here in this very first round, of taking a very dominant first round in their lead, of saying, okay, we got to take this lead opener. We're 1-0.
Yeah, they clicked on heads good, but they also droned good. They absolutely droned LDL off the map there. You saw consistently right the way through their attacking round. They droned LDL into the ground, and they did very, very well. Not only on the roam clear, but also in setting up and executing that final execute onto site. So that was very, very powerful from SilentFamily. Night and day, in fact, I'd argue, from what we saw from them last week. So there's clearly some practice, some conversations gone on in the background about how they go ahead and execute these attacks. Also, with someone who wasn't in the roster last week, it was a bit of a surprise for me to see, because I thought Rogo performed absolutely admirably for SilentFamily last week, but they've sat out at least map 1, and they're going to be replaced by Sinji, who I noticed was on the drones most of the game, so that may be where that's come from.
Maybe is it that where it's coming from, but also you bring a Jackal means you get immediately you have more pings, you get more intel about where are these roamers at, where are the general these first opening positions of these operators. That also gives you a lot of information of, okay, where can we possibly maybe enter a little bit more easier, where can we enter from and maybe play it out from without getting detected and maybe immediately being played against. But a lot of intel is only half a win, so there's always more to it. We'll look into round number 2 if maybe LDL is coming back with an answer, because we know for a fact LDL often are very good at giving back answers, and these answers not only come promptly, but they have a lot of impact.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about LDL setting up these really long sight angles, because SilentFamily, they've got control of the windows, and now they can kind of just engage freely. Are LDL looking to challenge these long range angles? That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Marcus ready.
It is an interesting one, especially because I would say SilentFamily has the upper hand by these windows, but you got to keep in perspective. You can also draw a lot of time and attention, but here Mark's getting 1, getting 2, but Madara finding an answer, getting Hugo. That is a shortener, but just look at these kills. Elias gets another kill. That makes it even on the 3-man count. That wasn't the thing that Marks was looking for with these opening frags, but a double opener. But indeed, LDL finding indeed another answer of how to improve their own. Now it's Gloku on that stair section onto Banana, but doesn't find any more grounds of it. But it's very interesting of seeing. We both got a 0 and a Valkyrie in hand. Of course, Bang is a huge map, but these camps, they have an insane amount of impact. Are getting a little bit damage. Madara getting marks. Now we're pushing in a little bit more. Glock is going in for the damage. There's still 1 more trying to help him out, but that way he's getting cut off, and Harvey gets another kill onto Glock. That Goyo definitely cut off the possibility of Senji of helping him get his teammate of Glock into that area of reception. But Elias shuts it off, gets another kill, and closes this round off. And as I mentioned, LDL is not only giving an abrupt answer, but they're giving an answer that not only says but also screams pure domination if you get your setups right.
And the thing is, I don't know if they did get their setup right. Because they did lose 2 people very early on to those long angles, didn't they? Which, you know, I mentioned, and SilentFamily picked off 2 people from the windows very, very quickly. But then they got the refrag back onto Marks, they pulled it back, and then in those dying stages, that kind of stymied SilentFamily's push. They weren't expecting to lose 2 people so early on before the minute, you know, before 1 minute had gone by. So that's what I was referring to earlier when I say LDL. They're really good at coming out and disrupting your game plan, and they've shown that they're willing to trade people to do it. Maybe that's why they were opening up these, you know, vast angles. Maybe they wouldn't have wanted to go 5-3 down so soon, but they pulled it back really quick, and from there, it didn't feel like SilentFamily had any momentum left to give. It kind of stymied the whole attack from there. They also were subject to a really impressive flanking maneuver from LDL, where they forced, with the positioning and gunplay, they forced Glocko to charge forwards out of the way of the Goyo charge and its effective radius, effectively separating the 2 remaining attackers. And at that point, it was very simple just to have 3 people, you know, attack Glocko, already damaged, already down. That was very easy. Very effective Twitch usage coming out there as well, removing all of that Goyo utility. Really, really lovely stuff from Hugo there, starting to affect that site setup.
Completely affected that side setup. It's more likely now that you have a lot of time. You nearly have 2 minutes of saying, okay, now we can concentrate of opening that breach. We can open the hatches and don't have to deal with these Goyo canisters when we have to go for the final plant attempt. But in that, say, we also have another Goyo canister, and that Goyo canister will get popped if he hits it, but it doesn't. That's unfortunate, but I think Yuga has made his impact with these Twitch drones. And now we have Teemo find their first kill onto Elias. It's another huge opening frag. It is the Valkyrie, so that means also in C4 or contact nades are out of pocket. That are another big utility that LDL now have gone past and that are not having anymore. Silent also tries to play these hatches. They open these hatches, and Harvey is close by them. He's in tellers. Now you may get forced a little bit. Also get Luna in his way all the way back. And Kev, maybe he gets the first impacts and also insights on the players. But Hugo is closing in on him. Top of Blue Stairs not giving an angle so far.
Yeah, it feels like particularly on this bottom side, they're just a little slow to execute, and they were this slow last time around, but it feels like they're not making any reasonable progress towards pushing LDL out of this second floor. You know, there's maybe 2 of them pushing now in unison, but it felt like for a moment there, it was 1v1s all around. And Zachariah going to pick off a 1v1 themselves. They'll take out Teemo as Harv has a little look around, but they're going to just back off and play their time a little bit. Not enough, though, as Hugo, in addition to that fantastic Twitch gameplay earlier, will use the F2 to devastating effect.
Shinji gaining another kill. Now we have a 4 against 2 situation. And that scenario pretty much goes very harshly back into the round 1 that we saw brightly, but Zachariah finds another kill, making it a little bit more even. Only 3-2 in man count. Now has to reposition a little bit. Gets some help by Madara. We have another one coming in from Garage, and that Garage is unspotted. It is undetected because it is a Nook, and the Nook can just move slowly but close into that bullet cam. No calls coming through, and that's a huge kill. Kills coming in there by that Nook, completely sneaking our way up from the elbow throughout Garage, and that one came more than unexpected and hurted LJ where they were the most open and vulnerable. And that way, SilentFamily keeps the lead and now regains it with another lead of 2-1 after round number 2.
And you know the thing is, they had a basement cam, they had a garage cam, they had a bulletproof camera in garage, which I guarantee will have seen that attack if it had been monitored. I know Ilias was sat on it for a while, but as the round developed, they hopped off it, and it was just at the exact wrong time as SilentFamily. They fly through garage and they pick up those last 2 kills. Really wonderful stuff. I really need to shout out Hugo though, for what a big round from Hugo there. That was absolutely fantastic. Not only were they taking out a ton of utility over at the start of the game, those 3 Goyo canisters, effectively setting up any kind of server push, but then also the gunplay to start breaking that deadlock mid-round. Really fantastic gameplay there.
I would also say I will just maybe lift off a little bit on Hugo saying that pixel kill that he got from outside square into archives was somehow also very impressive because that pixel peak should have been so small, and that he hit that one is quite impressive. That also shows that, yes, of course, we always speak about LDL with the mechanical skill, but the mechanical skill is very often also on the side of SilentFamily, as it just pretty much showed that.
Yeah, exactly the kill I'm referring to. Can't sing the praises enough on that one. Hugo spending some time AFK, because, you know, who doesn't need a breather after a round like that? As we're going to see Glocker, they're just going to make a little move around. They've challenged Basement, you know, they've challenged that hole a little bit. It's not gone well for them. Harvey picks up a C4, and I think this is maybe the first time, apart from round 2, where LDL have actually been not in a deficit. So, changing things around slowly but surely.
Turning things around, and Harv immediately puts up what has gone wrong the past round. He was opening frag, and with that, the C4 was gone quite early on by Timu finding that kill. But now the C4 was in pocket, and it was thrown out and gained himself a kill onto Mox, as that one was the opening frag for LDL in round number 4. And as you mentioned, indeed, it was the first, and it may not be the last. But now it's a third attempt of LDL of withholding that spot down below. We have previously seen they're playing quite aggressively upstairs with onto 3 players upstairs in the first floor. Now we have withdrawn these positions quite early on and saying, okay, we will fall back and just maybe gain a little bit stronghold, and that also opens up for SilentFamily of just making these plays through, down, forwards. And now I would say somehow it just made the game a little bit static, because I have the feeling SilentFamily are losing a lot of time.
They are. Glocker, they were completely undetected the whole way through there, but then, you know, just at the last second, they can't hit their shots, and that's it. Nook's effectively useless. They are just another gun. But what they've done here, SilentFamily, is they've achieved that second floor control, something which has taken them a while previously. So now, rather than just playing for frags, which is, you know, entirely valid, they can actually start thinking about, okay, how do we execute onto site? 30 seconds left, 4v5, they do have the diffuser in hand. It's all going to be about the execute now, and we see it come out now. The smokes go out, a lot of utilities going out, but the frags come on back out. The diffuser falls, and straight away it goes from a 5v4 to a 5v1, and the clutch nowhere near for Glocker. Flawless round from LDL. What a response!
What a response! And I would say, just as you mentioned, LDL with the withdrawal back onto site, saying, okay, we will stand alongside each other in the close combat areas. We will like lock off stairway, we will lock off the hatches, and we will just maybe force them, saying, okay, they gotta hot drop into CCTV or come through server. They completely cut off all the other opportunities of saying, okay, we will not get blindsided this time, and maybe force SilentFamily to try to go for that plant and also play for that execute. And because if you forced them to do that, you were prepped for that scenario. And when that scenario struck, you just saw what LDL did. They completely shut it down without any type of having any flaws with it or having any type of problems with that. It would just immediately got shut down.
Yeah, in a round like that, you know, where there's not a lot of frags and the timer starts to creep down, as soon as you get beyond that 30-second mark, there isn't really any time to decommit from one plan and recommit to another. LDL, they were aware, as you say, after withdrawing downstairs without losses, they were really well aware that SilentFamily, they had moved into the positions that they had just vacated. And with that amount of time left on the clock, there was not a lot of things they could do. And so what that did is it meant that their push was really well signposted. LDL made a scenario, they engineered it so they knew exactly where SilentFamily would be coming from. They could establish firing angles, and you saw there, it went from, you know, a 4v5 to a 5v1 in the matter of what, maybe 2 seconds, being generous. A really well engineered scenario from LDL there.
Definitely, I'm completely on your side with that. But let me ask you one question, Delta. Is maybe that the key against SilentFamily? Not trying to be too eager of saying, okay, let's go for these gunfights against SilentFamily. Let's play it a little bit more smooth. Let's play it a little bit more laid back. Maybe try to force them to go with the executes that we want them to do. Is that maybe the key to say, okay, we completely shut down SilentFamily by doing that in case? Because I have the feeling of SilentFamily immediately when you give them ground for free, they take a lot of time of like double checking, closing down these areas before they take them.
Yeah, first frag there from Timo onto Luna. I think I do agree. I think we're seeing a different SilentFamily team to the one that we saw in the upper bracket. They're droning significantly more effectively. And, oh, the shots only just missing there as this gunfight is not done yet. Both of them fancy a little bit of afters, but no frags coming out there. Harvey will go down to Hugo, who's logged back in. But yeah, no, I think both of these teams, you know, they're not really settled. I think the enormity of the occasions may be affecting both of them in how they play. LDL not hitting their shots as much, SilentFamily being incredibly cautious, as you say. I think both of these teams, it's going to turn into a bit of an ugly brawl fest before the game is done.
And the brawl fest is just here to begin as Madara finds the first and Sakurai finds the second onto Marks, and that way we have a closing of their 33 section. And that is in case another big impact for LDL. They always seem to find an answer. Yes, once again, they have a opening frag against them. They can immediately refrag that one, but then again, the tides turn, and another time somehow it takes the upper hand. Now Madara turns it completely back in favor and killing also into Shinji, as that way we have on a 3-2 operator upper hand for LDL, as it slightly seems as soon and as close as you get onto side, LDL is more and more prepped for these gunfights. Oh. But it's not fair and it's not finished as Glocku finds another kill onto Madara, making it a 2-2. 9 seconds left.
Long angles coming out, they're going to work well for them, but Glocker and Hugo, they're going to use those long angles, they're going to really pick out some shots. And I think particularly that, you know, that Glocker frag through janitors, I just don't see how you take that fight and lose it. It's, you know, it was just, you know, some poor crosshair placement, which you really don't expect from Lynn's Defense League. And again, you know, SilentFamily, I think if we were looking at the same team with the same mentality as we saw in the upper bracket final, you know, we'd probably be looking at 4-1 for LDL right now. But they've changed, you know, quite a lot about their game. They've had a little bit more time to scrim specifically against LDL. They've had a little bit more time to reflect on the issues in their own game. We see that with the, you know, perhaps with the roster change. We see that perhaps with how the attitude has changed with respect to intelligence gathering. But, you know, LDL, they're on the cusp of losing their defensive half, which they chose. Let's not forget that. This is their map pick, and they chose to defend first. They're on the cusp of losing that 4-2, and they're going back up to a site where they just lost. Is it a case of LDL doing things wrong on their own standards, or is it a case of them being outplayed? That's the question, isn't it, Mikey?
I would almost say that I have the feeling that LDL isn't warmed up right of this moment. We have seen so many small lacking points so far in LDL's defense that I would say that might be the case, that they're not that warmed up already. They're not that prepped for this map. By just giving you an example, okay, you have the kill onto the dock through our janitor that we just spoke about with Loku. When you take that gunfight against a nut, you're never turning your back against, especially when you have an MP5 and there was still a half a clip left. You're never turning your back. That way you gave away 1v1. Then another time you just have visuals on the nut and you're just saying, okay, she just quick swung me of saying, okay, I know for a fact where that castle is standing, and my castle just plays stuck and said, okay, I will just stand in my position and wait till she swings another time and try to kill her. That's the poorest thing that you can do, because she knows for a fact that you stood there and she will immediately pre-fire that. And the other thing is you have a teammate coming all the other way, so there was no escaping point for you as on this castle position. So I would say somehow it just feels like LDL are doing things they haven't thought through once or twice as they should probably do.
Yeah, but then the other thing is, you know, SilentFamily, they took advantage of, you know, using the book on, you know, Hugo having a really good game so far, to create that, you know, aggressive upwards vertical. Something I absolutely love, because it catches people out, you know, on the regular, you know, at every level, you know, from, you know, your quick play right through to your ranked and your competitive. Harvey going on a bit of a spree, but he'll get fragged back out by Glocker, and Hugo picking up yet another kill with that book. So really, really strong gunplay coming out from both teams in this round. 3-3 going into the last minute of the round.
And that is Madara and Harvey, both gone. These are the two top fraggers so far for LDL. And if we look a little bit more into the stats, I know that you should do the stats, guys, today. But if we look a little bit on Elias, 2 and 3 is still okay. But Luna and 0 and 4, once again, these mirror wins already up and dealt with. Yes, you have gained nearly 2 minutes now, and you're still on your position. But is that the game plan, the game strategy against SilentFamily? If that is, I would say you should think one more time about that, because that indeed couldn't be the poorest case possible.
Yeah, the issue for me here now is, what's the plan? What's the actual plan? Apparently, it's to stand in the doorway and just get shot. What's the plan? Maybe the absence of a plan is what we'll be looking at here. As another one falls, Ilias picking up another frag. They'll get refragged by Hugo, and it's all on his shoulders now to clutch. 8 seconds on the clock. He does not have diffuser in hand. He'll go and pick that up. 5 seconds left. He'll overpeak though, and Luna picking up their first kill of the game and their second picks off Hugo to take us to a 3-3 half.
Okay, now I just will repeat what you have mentioned. SilentFamily did a lot of more drone work than the past week. I think we didn't see that anymore in round number 6. Another thing is I completely cast a cursed SilentFamily for that round. I said, okay, Elias, 2 and 3, still okay, but quite not where he wants to be. Immediately makes it 3-3, then goes 3-4. Is okay. But Lunar, all 4, going 2-4, taking these double kills and saying, okay, I'm getting shit talk, I will do kills. It's like the perfect example of saying, okay, we have players not quite in the mood yet in this round, have not got their name on the scoreboard, and immediately, as we mention their names, they say, okay, I gotta do something, and they do deliver. And that way we have ourselves a 3-3 equal standing after the first half. And I would say the half was very convincing for SilentFamily if we think attack-wise, as they brought many good ideas. And LDL, I would say a little bit sleepy, but another thing that we know for one's sake, and just mention it and deal with it once and for all, LDL is an insanely good attacking team. We've mentioned it, they are completely mechanical skilled. Madara is a monster on Ashe, Sakurai is a monster on the soft breachers, and Hob is always that player to give these clutches when you need them the most on that Hob breacher. So I would say they're pretty much set and prepped for this second half, and I just pretty much hope they will deliver a little bit more of the LDL coolness that we know them for in their own attacks.
Yeah, I should say LDL are a really strong attacking team. You know, it's a team that really gels well together, and they're not only good at their defensive setups, they're really good at hitting their targets on their attacking setups. Now, we are going to see SilentFamily use, you know, very much the same defense in depth, but they don't have a roamer playing around upstairs, so that limits the amount of work that LDL actually have to do. They can get away with just droning or even face checking that top floor.
But very interesting as well is we immediately also on the side of LDLC, we're bringing in the 0. We're immediately checking second floor. We're immediately, after we have gained intel on second floor, we're taking it. They're not leaving time. They're not dropping time. They're immediately taking what they have with agility and intel, and they're already checking already out the first floor and already got some intels onto Hugo, and Hugo is indeed the first player that you really should put some pressure on, because that's your first enemy with you wanting to clean these hatches out and maybe also gain advantage and access to the open area.
Yeah, Hugo, I don't remember having a particularly huge game against MVG. I think SilentFamily arguably underperformed in that game. Hugo having a fantastic game so far. Taking them off the board will be a really powerful boon for LDL as they push through. You can see how they've started to take that vertical control. They've got Bug playing on the top floor, putting pressure now onto that second floor. SilentFamily, I don't think they're going to contest this. I think they're going to try and emulate what LDL did the other rounds, where they're just going to start retreating. They'll have one player play their life in open area, maybe pick up an exit frag or two, but then they will retreat fully in. You can see it's working because there's no frags yet, and we're 2 minutes through the round.
2 minutes through the round, and we just see the clock completely picks for SilentFamily. It's still 5 against 5. LDL a little bit slow. They have intel. Okay, there is approximately 1 or 2 guys in these areas, and we need to push them out. As Hugo now finally gets dealt with by Luna, as he's putting some pressure on that open area. And now we have gained the opening frag for LDL. LDL has only 20 seconds left. They need to go for an execute as Elias finds an execute into Marks, as we only have inside the Gloku trying to withhold that breach. Harv already breached. He was trying to go for that plant, getting dealt with by CJ. Luna gets the next kill on Timu, and Senji gets another kill with these. Gloku finds another one, finds a double. Now we need to drop in. Luna finds one, and he's going for the second kill, but Senji is there to save the day once again. Triple kill for Sanji, and that way he closed off this 7th round. Another time in the favor of SilentFamily. It seems like every single time it's about of saying one team gotta take the lead. SilentFamily has that final nook of staying ahead. Meanwhile, LDL, quite at this moment, have good ideas. They bring a force and they have the upper hand when they go for the execute, but then somehow it slips away from them and they're only running after that lead every second round.
You know, I do have to maybe apologize or extend an extraction to SilentFamily. I said they were doing LDL's things of an extended defense, but what they were really doing is they were playing the time. And as I mentioned in the pre-game, that's actually one of the things that they're exceptionally strong at on their defense, using the timer. Because as it ticks down to that kind of, especially the 20-second mark, 30-second mark, it effectively becomes an extra defender. Because, you know, LDL, they're not just playing against 5 people with guns and utilities, they're playing against the clock as well. And that forces your decision making to change. It forces it to become a little more rushed. It forces it to become a little less good. You know, you're doing things quickly, but you're not actually having the time to think about them, which, you know, it is very powerful in the game, as strategic and tactically minded as Rainbow Six Siege. See the statistics coming up across the screen there, and we've seen a couple of people who maybe had a very weak start to the game. You know, in terms of frags, they've been picking it back up. You've got Luna, who was kept quiet, Ilias, who was kept quiet in that first half of the game, starting to bring it back, but not well enough for LDL. 4-3, you know, 1 round deficit, round 8. Top floor, here we go.
Top floor, here we go, and it's still. I just want to mention, as long as SilentFamily is in the lead, we have that underdog story that we all love in the audience. And I would say this matchup is a little bit more closer than I thought from the first looks on it. But it's definitely deserved as SilentFamily. They played the time well in their first defense. They had a lot of aggression. They had multiple well thought through ideas in the attack. So as you just mentioned, it's another SilentFamily that we're seeing this week than we saw last week. But is it enough though for LDL, as LDL still sticks to the name of having favorite mans of this tournament? But they definitely show up for their cases. Sakurai and also Luna are being put out. And another time, SilentFamily gained themselves a double opening frag, and also Madara has to withhold 50% of his health and losing the other half in that gunfight. Gluck, the first man in the team of SilentFamily, that has to lose some health, but of course he's a dog. He can immediately heal well back up. So still 5 against 3, but Elias moves in, doesn't lose any more time, has the intel on Gluck and shuts him down, and closing in for the throw of 3. And once again, LDL gets another kill onto Hugo, firstly down by Halv and then shut down and killed, makes it an even man count of 3-3, and that's once again the LDL that we know. You can fold them in, you can fold them back, but they will come back on you. Another section of kills are coming in. That's a gunfight between Elias and Marks is the guy that dealt the most damage, but it's trying to get himself on the second view. It doesn't get any more views and sights on it, but as Timu shuts down Halv, that means we have another upper hand for SilentFamily. 3 against 4 in types of men count.
Yeah, Mark's doing a really good job there of holding those main stairs. He's going to get challenged again, and he's going to pick up a second kill. Ilias returning to try and finish the fight, but gets found wanting. It's down to Madari now on the Ash. 20 seconds to go, and they know where he is. The intel's there, and the Izami peeking under her barricade will finish him off. 5-3 to SilentFamily on LDL's map pick.
5-3. somehow unweighted, but definitely deserved a SilentFamily every so ever. Find the right amount of clues that LDL delivered to them, and they definitely not only act upon them, but they completely abuse those against LDL. Every single small lack point of LDL has been abused by SilentFamily. But so ever it means as well, every lacking point so far given by SilentFamily has been completely abused and taken back by LDL. But quite of this moment, it isn't enough. And for this first take of tonight's evening, SilentFamily not only stay in the lead, but they concluded of just building it wider open. With a lead now of 5-3, that means they only need 2 more rounds to secure themselves this very first map win, and only needing 1 more round to be safe in overtime.
Building up ahead of steam now, SilentFamily. It's the first time that either of these teams has picked up two rounds in a row so far in this series. So they're starting to really vibe, and I can't help but agree with you when I think you said a couple of rounds ago. LDL, they don't feel like they've warmed up properly. They don't feel like they're performing at their maximum potential. I think yourself, myself, a lot of the staff team, as we saw in the predictions vote earlier, we saw a lot of people think LDL were, kind of dead certs, and SilentFamily, as you say, they're within 2 rounds of taking their own map pick off them. A map which, I hasten to add, LDL have not lost in the competition. Every time they've picked it, they've won it. And they're not that far away from losing it for the first time in this lower bracket semi-final.
They're not that far away. They're not that far away. But still, there's a lot of ground to be taken and still to be defended by these 2 teams, and there's still a lot of more rounds coming. At least we will see 11 rounds. No, we'll at least see 10 rounds, I mean. But there's every so ever enough time for both of these teams to straighten up, and especially for LDL to come back here. But the first damage points are being dealt onto Glock as he withdraws a little bit more than half of his HP bar, of saying, okay, I gotta take these first interactions with the opponent, and these are not going well. Madara very closing in. These are close, but he's turning away. He's not seeing. No, this can't be. He gets the kill on Glock.
No way.
Now Senji gotta get on the camp, but Senji is completely withdrawing that kill. He's completely throwing with panic knifing. And that way, Valour gains not only 1, but gets another double opening frag. But Timo is there to save the day, just for a small second though, as he immediately gets refragged from Luna.
What have we just witnessed?
Finished.
What are we watching?
Elias answering, getting the kill on Hugo. It's only Marks left, and Marks immediately begins his turn, and he wants to come back this round for his team, saying we will go into match point in round number 10, but he will have a hard one as Elias just put through that diffuser, and it's Marks against 3, and these 3 guys of LDL are all on full HP. He's also tracked down and pinged. He gets to go into that kill, but Sakurai is there to save the day once again, and this time, once again now, LDL is closing in. It isn't equaled in the man of standing, but they closed in. That's the first big step. But another thing that's not about to happen, we see it in the replay, Madara should never have gained the access of going within that through open area square into archives and gaining these 2 kills. That is very pure chem positioning by SilentFamily, or maybe not the right amount of intergathering with the camps that they had.
Yeah, it's an exceptionally strange scenario, isn't it? Because you think of a defensive open area, typically you'll have people if at least watching, if not around that Skylight Square area. You'll have people in the area, so for Nook to sneak through completely unnoticed, and then to not see the Valk, but then still pick up a 2k off the back of it. What did we just watch? How is that the round where they break this head of steam that SilentFamily built up? But break it they did. 5-4. No longer ahead of steam, no longer the momentum with SilentFamily, but not knocked off kilter just yet. 1 round isn't necessarily the kind of changing point that we see. It remains to be seen whether LDL they can bounce back fully and level it up here in round 10.
Bomb located by attackers.
They could level it here in round number 10. And I just want to mention the build-up on site from SilentFamily is completely similar to the one that LDL had. And see another lacking point. If we so ever get another, like I would say, wide open screen from the setup, once again, Garage is completely left vulnerable. Yes, we don't have a Nook in the perspective team roster of LDL, but still, you can potentially blindside SilentFamily the same way that SilentFamily blindsided you in the hands of LDL. And I would pretty much hope for the dare hands of SilentFamily that they have that back in their head, back in mind of saying, okay, we gotta have one eye or at least an ear into these sides of Garage.
Yeah, well, we saw LDL fall prey to it back in round 3, I believe it was. Garage Cam, they had it there, but it was unmonitored, and SilentFamily snuck through. 2K won the round. So it's entirely possible, even at this level, for teams to forget about it.
But somehow, it's a quite aggressive hole that SilentFamily is posing here. Now we have LDL trying to play from above. They've cleared out that top floor, but Glock finds the C4 on the second round. That is another big opener. Zachariah on the Ash, trying to get these first interactions with the opponent, and immediately gets drawn and pulled out with the C4. Beautifully done for SilentFamily as they yet again find another big opening frag here in round number 10 to make it their favor.
Yeah, I was quite surprised.
Because of damage.
Yeah, I was quite surprised that the Zachariah wasn't able to evade that C4. It was very easily signposted. The audio call they'll have heard it, and just not for it not to have been recognised as a bit poor. We're going to see SilentFamily. They're going to start to retreat back in. You know, they're having all these breaches opened in on them. They'll start putting men on the site now, as opposed to holding that ground floor. The drop, there's another one. Fire, it comes through. Hugo picks up one on Luna as we hit 30 seconds to go in the round.
And we're definitely losing some intel here, just because the jump in from Luna was immediately detected by Hugo, and Hugo was not drowned out, but now finally Madara is there to kill out Hugo. But once again, we are in that perspective of only having 20 seconds left. You're forced LDL, and they will have to drop the same place that SilentFamily had to drop earlier, but it doesn't get shut down immediately. Mark gets the first kill on Elia, but Madara is there to save the day and get killed by Glokado, but Harvey is there to kill Marks, but now he has to play through and gets another kill, but it doesn't happen as Glock is there in the corner of just saying, okay, if immediately when you come close, I will get you, and that is the case. And once again, SilentFamily is there to yet again exceed their lead 1 point more and are now in the opportunity of taking this map home in round number 11 of saying match point opportunity twice in a row. LDL needs to desperately win 2 rounds in a row of saying we will go to overtime. If that is the case, SilentFamily will win their map pick, and that will be the first, I would say, shocker of this evening, as we never would have awaited SilentFamily to win this map.
Yeah, I mean, this is Knockout Siege. It does funny things to people, you know? But in Swiss, you can lose a game, you can lose 2 games. You'll still be fine, right? If you win everything else, you'll be fine. You still go through. In Knockout Siege, especially at this, you know, the business end of the tournament, it's so different, and the mentality is entirely different. You know, every shot, every single execute, every reinforcement, every grenade, and every C4, everything contributes to the match in a way that mentally it just doesn't in other games. You know, Knockout Siege, it hits really different, and I think LDL, after potentially losing, you know, the first couple of rounds, and being, you know, never in the lead at all so far on their map pick, I do wonder if the mentality has changed somewhat, if the mentality is not quite where they would want it to be.
Okay, but I gotta bring through a call. Our dearest man in the call of Bozmex joined the Discord call, where we are sitting in the completeness of the production crew, and that means he wants some overtime business. Chat, are we ready to have an LDL comeback here? Or do we know for a fact that SilentFamily will lock this off? We knew for a fact SilentFamily have been playing the clock a lot against LDL, and LDL have been struggling to find the right answers for it. But immediately here, Madara shuts down Hugo, and that is a big kill. Madara just exceeds his lead of kills in these double digits onto 12 now. And we need an LDL that now pressures, not only pressures, but we immediately force these rounds. And we have another opportunity here, and Sakurai gets a kill on Gluck. That's another big kill. That is the 2 top fraggers out and dealt with. But Timo is there, and Marks is there as well, and they get Lunar and Sakurai. The 2 guys were standing completely aside each other and get dealt with as long as each other as well. So 3-on-3 man count once again. And this time, it's not speaking LDL, as both Hav and Madara have been dealt with a lot of damage, and Hav is downed. He has to crawl in, and there's no savior in the closer need. He has both the headline and also the guy Engender against his favor of getting revived. He gets to crawl in. Elias also on the retreat of saying we gotta reposition, we gotta regroup, and maybe play it as a unit. Harvey will get revived, but is that the key? 1 minute remaining, and there's still a lot of things to be taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, one peak from Azami there, and that would have been all been over. You know, that's a free 2 kills. 3v3, we've been here so many times before, and it feels like once again, you know, when an attacking team, they go ahead, but they have 2 kills in quick succession, it completely breaks any momentum they build up through the round. What's the plan? You know, I said this before when SilentFamily were attacking. What is the plan? Because it seems a little bit disjointed, a little bit aimless now. The drone coming out, they will spot the person in elevator. That's absolutely key. If that wasn't unspotted, that was a free kill. 3 kills coming out though for Shinji as they'll get one onto Madari. 25 seconds on the clock. Utility being deployed. It's 3v2. This is a main stairs push. That'll get seen to by Marks. He'll pick up another one. Looking for match point. 3v1. LDL. Last stand. Harv will pick up one onto Shinji. Important opening kill, but got it all to do. 10 seconds left, but the swing will come out and Marks will send us to map 2.
So that is the concluded 7-4. We'll shut off this first map, and I would say not only is it a shocker, but it's a very earned win. I wouldn't say it's a hard-fought victory, but in some terms, it's a very well-fought victory. SilentFamily definitely showed a complete new face than we saw priorly. As you mentioned, we had the feeling that SilentFamily completely underperformed last week, and I would say the comeback of SilentFamily is real. It is beginning, and it doesn't end. They have won the map that is so strong by LDL, one of the most favorite teams in the whole tournament, and they turned the tides and said, okay, we're playing against a favorite on one of their most favorited maps, and we will prove you guys all wrong. 10% votes for us, 91% in the favor of LDL. Underdog scene it is, an underdog story we will bring to you, and that way, I don't know, I'm a little bit lost for words, and I'm a little bit overwhelmed. As I've said, I would await a very equal, a very balanced out match, but this, that was somehow a little bit more than only impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a SilentFamily team that really bouncing back from the loss last week, from dropping down to the lower bracket. You know, a SilentFamily team that is kind of embracing droning. They're not taking these, you know, arguably daft early peaks. They're not over swinging and being punished for it. I think that's a two-way sword. I think LDL also aren't pushing out and punishing these over peaks. You know, these early flashes of aggression, but it's mainly on SilentFamily just cutting that out of the game, being a lot more intel focused, being a lot more methodical in how they approach site. And then also on the defensive rounds, being very, very cute with the timer, right? Being very, very good at driving that time away and creating another defender in that way. When the frags come in and they're a couple people down, very, very strong at popping a couple themselves and bringing it right back level. I think we saw 3-3, maybe 6 times in those 11 rounds. So
Yeah,
we saw that, you know, particularly from the side of SilentFamily, doing really, really good stuff to just pull and rein LDL in, stop them from getting any kind of like long momentum up. And at the end, you know, it was just a case of having the mental fortitude to see it out, and that's fantastic. That's a real statement, not just for this game, but potentially for the rest of the competition. They took the best team in the league, and they took their map choice off them. A map that they had,
definitely.
a map that they've won 100% of the times they picked it. That's huge, man. It's huge.
That's huge, and definitely gives a lot of motivation. It also gives a lot of confidence in yourself when you
Yeah.
now go into the second map. When we talk about the second map, we will have a quick break, so don't go far because we will see each other right back on Consulate after short break. Grab something to drink, grab something to eat, some snacks if you so will, and we see each other right back when it's time for Consulate. And so we are back with the second game of tonight's play day here at ESA. We're still in the lower bracket final. I'm still Mighty, and I'm still joined by Delta.
Yeah, and what I mean, if you weren't here before the break, man, did you miss some? Did you miss some spicy? We saw SilentFamily, arguably the underdogs coming into this match. Despite coming from the upper bracket final, they've had a bit of a shakier tournament run than LDL have. Round differential, all those metrics, the whole staff team, apart from one, thought that LDL would be kind of a shoe-in for the victory today in this best of 3 series. They only won and won. LDL's map pick 7-4, with LDL defending first, choosing to defend first at that. So, a really impressive performance coming out from SilentFamily, and it can't really be understated, can it, Matey? Just how powerful a statement that sends to what you'd say the number 1 seed in the competition.
I would just say this number 1 seed in the competition, but still, you lose your most favorite map pick. You lose bank against SilentFamily, a team that has been lacking a little bit in the past weeks. Maybe not showed themselves from the right face side last week against the guys from. Okay, it doesn't change the fact, but SilentFamily didn't show themselves as the team that we know them for the past week. But immediately they showed themselves what they're capable of on a bank like bank, and they shut down LDL's dreams of saying, "Okay, we'll take the first map point, just move and go with the flow into the further section of the other maps." But okay, let's focus back. We will go to Consulate. SilentFamily has one ahead now. They have the map pick of bank in their pocket, saying, "Okay, we got the first map one so far, so we only need one more." Now they are going to their map pick. They did so many good things right. They had a few lacking points, but I'd say the more amount of lacking points are definitely in the hands of LDL, because SilentFamily, they should feel well. They should be confident. They should be motivated, saying, "We got that map of bank in our pocket and we can focus completely back on Consulate." Consulate, I would say, is a map that goes quite in the same direction as bank. As of course, it is another map. There's still a lot of more entry points. So, but I would just want to ask you, Delta, what are maybe the things that LDL need to improve, and also the things that SilentFamily has to keep in mind, and also just focus on, or saying, okay, we can improve and also withhold our strengths on that second map.
Well, there's clicking on heads. I come from PC, so I'd say, just use keyboard mouse. Much more fun, much better. But a couple of things that they can actually do is I would say that SilentFamily they sometimes were punished by early aggression. They kind of worked out that game. Maybe it's time for LDL to actually send that back. Give that back the other way. There wasn't too many times when LDL took a man advantage in rounds. It was very rare. In fact, when they were on defense, for them to have the advantage until late in the round. Being that little bit more aggressive would really benefit them, both on defense and attack. On attack, they were quite slow in hitting their, kind of attack setup milestones. They were quite slow on their roam clears, quite slow in their drones and things like that. So, that's something that they do need to really work out. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into the operator bans now, though, Mighty, and I think it's no surprise to see Monty taken straight off the board.
And definitely no surprise there. We had her already on the previous map. We will definitely have her on that map as well. And I would only say it's more than understandable. Also, Bravo was already banned. And the first map, I pretty much say these teams have their preferred bans of saying, okay, we're not dealing with these operators. Definitely not the operators that we so often see on maps like Consulate or also on Bank. But I would say it just makes it a little bit more easy to play their strategic plans and also just play their strat book out well. And now I would say the first ban that is more in the favor of saying, okay, we will go and target ban Pacific operators in the lineups of the opponent's teams, because we know for a fact they're often bringing these operators. They have a player that is quite well in these operators. So Mira is like, after my opinion, the first real target ban that SilentFamily is going with against LDL.
Yeah, I
Meanwhile,
think
LDL though stands with their Cade ban.
Yeah, I think it's target ban in two ways. Number one, they used Myra to, very impressive effect on their defensive rounds. Did SilentFamily, but then the other side of it is a little bit of more of a meta tactic in that Cade or Mute or Bandit, they're all kind of always going to get banned out, right? At least one of the three. It's very rare you'll see all three in use at any one time in terms of
Defenders,
being
protect your
available
bombs
for
from
being
defused
picked.
by attackers.
By not picking a breach denial for their defensive ban, by picking Myra instead, not only have they taken something away from SilentFamily, they've also maybe limited SilentFamily's ability to utilize their bans, because you kind of have to ban a Cade or a Myra. Sorry, you kind of have to ban a Cade or a Bandit or a Mute, right? If they didn't, there'd be so much breach denial that it would affect so much of their strategies going forward. They would be mandated to bring along a Thatcher, or maybe an Osa with the impact EMPs and things like that. And I don't think they'll have been prepared or will have scrimmed around that. As you say, both teams, they're going to have their strategies for how they like to attack and the operators that they like to bring to affect that. And with the Cade being banned, you're not seeing that Thatcher, you're not seeing that Osa or anything like that. And on the other side, you're not really seeing too much in the way of ban denial.
I am definitely going with you on that, and I will also mention the perspective of a Mira being banned. We've seen her so many times in a past major on SI that she's often also played as a breach denial, because she just places her mirror window in the middle of a double breach that we often see also down in Garage here on the map like Consulate, and she just pops that mirror open when, for example, an Ace or a Termite is coming up close, of maybe just getting an angle or a vision onto the operator when he is coming close enough to the wall, of throwing it or placing a gadget, and then maybe mocking him out by that. And Hav now, with the first visuals, that could have gone horrendously wrong for Hugo. He only gets a little bit of damage, but that could have gone really south there quite quick.
Yeah, I feel like it's taken SilentFamily quite long to actually get into the building. They'll get punished for that, as Luna will take out Mark, so they'll make the first kill of the game. Luna bouncing back quite well, I think, in the second half of Bank, our first map, and carrying that on.
And also Mark was indeed a big player for SilentFamily on the first map. And now you mentioned it, we need an LDL that brings a little bit more that aggression that they're so known for, brings the aggression of being able to fight back, and also not only fighting back, but also pushing back these attackers and just making this, okay, we are the hunters, not you guys. We'll defend every inch and nook of this map, but we will also try to regain back every single square inch that you are so desperately trying to take and obtain. And that is more or less the LD that we have seen so far. But now Luna, that has done these double opening kills so far, has been done and dealt with.
Yeah, but they've done their job. They've treated that positively. But Hugo doing their job as well, picking out Zachariah as he dares to stick an elbow out of a doorway. That's a really good impact frag. Defenders a little bit unsure of each other now, as they're starting to cross over each other. They're retreating back from fights, and they're unable to establish a positive trade balance here. Oh!
Well, they're just not able to put these bullets through. You cross yourself, and there are some friendly bullets coming through from that Ash onto the Ace, but then I gotta say once more, LDL feel a little bit sleepy. They're not quite there. Like, LDL was the team, okay, I'm moving in, I'm doing damage, I can give you a perfect call where the last standing guy is, and then immediately you see the last guy from LDL moving in, not afraid of taking these gunfights. Now once again, Elias moving in, gaining a kill on his teammate, immediately reframing him. He gets the call. Okay, there's the Ace back in the corner. What happens? He's standing still and just pre-aiming. He's not pre-aiming, he's only pre-aiming the angle where the Ace is supposed to be coming from. And with that, he completely leaves away every sound cue, that Ace knows for a fact, okay, he is close around me on left-hand side, and what does the Ace do? He does how you're supposed to do it in gunfights when you're coming up in close range. You're moving in, you're swinging left over, and you immediately, when you're going in for the swing, you're pre-firing. You're not giving the hands of Malusi a standing chance of going into that gunfight on her side, and that way you clean out that round once more again. SilentFamily taking the 1-0 after round number 1. It already gives me some feelings of bank that we had privately, and once again, I gotta name it. You mentioned it. These 5-on-3 turning 3-3 scenarios. I think that is the key bit that we have seen so far in this matchup between these two teams, because this is at least the 8th or 9th time that we have seen this so far.
Joe, for the longest time there, I wondered, what's this guy on about? And then I realised, oh, actually, SilentFamily won that round. I was like, what's he saying? And he's saying, oh, I'm the problem. SilentFamily, I mean, yeah, I had it in my notes that, you know, I was under the impression LDL had won, and I wrote there, very lucky to win that, because they were outplayed. So even in spite of the team kill that came out from SilentFamily, you know, picking up the round pretty well, despite forcing it into a 1v1 of their own volition. That's very powerful. LDL, they'll drop the first kill this time. Mark's getting some vengeance onto half, and it's just this inability to refrag, this inability to like make use of that man advantage that LDL are really struggling with, both last map and this.
And we're definitely seeing they are struggling because they're not playing as freely as they did privately. And also this round is not in a good starting mood for LDL. SL has already gotten that first opening frag, and we're definitely not seeing an LDL that is able to fight back immediately as they're losing ground. And also these Goyo cannons once again are being pulled out. And I would say Lunar is not looking where he's supposed to be. Gluck gets some damage dealt from below, though. That's could have been a huge kill and maybe also an equalizer, but wasn't enough. And Lunar definitely needs to be a little more patient, more laid back from the positioning that he has got, because he nearly gotten himself killed by his own gadget.
Yeah, I think so far this game from both teams, we see some really strong Twitch gameplay, both on the drones and on the guns, and we're going to see a little bit more good gunplay as Marks. They'll pick up a second Twitch, not dealing with that bulletproof camera maybe as efficiently as you would like, but still, popping those Goyo canisters to, take Goyo down so low. It's unfortunate for SilentFamily they didn't do more and that he got away to live to tell another tale.
I would say the most impressive sighting that I've had so far in the favor of LDL is in SilentFamily is they have a drone completely droning forwards and through, and immediately you see there's not one, there's not two, but there are intensely 3 guys immediately chasing in and closing into that drone and just putting on pressure. But when we so often have talked about the time gained and the time suppressed by the defending team of SilentFamily against LDL, LDL do something of that of their own, as they don't completely need to swing in. Close Lunar, shutting on one. He's not able to swing through. He could have shut it down, that diffuser plant, but Senji is there to knock it down. And Hugo gains himself the last kill to Sakuraya. And that way we have himself lead them in a 2-0 scenario after round number 2. And I would say SilentFamily is not only feeling themselves, but they're completely in a moment of pure confidence.
Yeah, they really, really are, aren't they? This is now 5 rounds they've won on the bounce, unresponded, going back to as far as round 9 in map 1. They're now going into round 3 on map 2 without having dropped a round. They've essentially won almost half a game of Siege in a row. LDL, they need to stop the rot now. It's getting to the point where it's no longer a game, it's becoming a rout. They had all the advantages in the last dying seconds, apart from the man advantage. They had the intel from the wall cam, which went unpopped over in hallway. They had really good firing lines set up, but then they just didn't quite slip into place. They allowed SilentFamily to push them out of their firing lines. They retreated away, and I think there's a little bit of eagerness to preserve their life rather than take the gunfight in some instances as LDL look to defend their positions. They pull back some more, but then the ground that they've ceded, SilentFamily can use to affect a plant. The plant goes down whilst Luna's chasing a kill elsewhere. these little things, these defensive frailties, they're something that we haven't really seen in LDL's game at all through the competition. It's the exact same roster that we've seen dominate teams. It's the exact same roster that's the #1 seeds that finished top in Swiss. So I have to ask you, Mighty, what's going on?
I would love to mention and just roll up a lot of reasons why, but I can't really seem to find them because I would say that it's more like these standard categorized things. LDL a little bit too open with their positioning, leaving themselves a very vulnerable positionings, very vulnerable scenarios, but then not quite bringing what is forced from them. Because when you're placing yourself in these open, categorized scenes, you have to have yourself in sections of saying, okay, I need to force in, I need to do something more about these scenarios. I got to do more within those and just maybe gain an advantage point or two. And that's quite not happening by LDL. Immediately, when you're having the issues of moving yourself in, you're not seeing these things through. You just let SilentFamily fill these gaps immediately. Medio face up front first, and then you're not ready and prepped for these gunfights. I still have to say, LDL feel a little bit sleepy. They feel unconfident. They feel uncomfy in this matchup in this game so far, and that's pretty much giving them tense of saying, okay, we can't play freely against SilentFamily because they're just suppressing our game flow immediately.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. LDL's doing well to run down the timer. They've got the, they've leveled things out now. Harv going to be looking for an exit as Turbo now, as we see now the Demos starting to rotate down to that bottom breach. They're going to try and pick up the diffuser, and this is now really interesting because they've separated the attackers. They're trying to push around from a couple of different wee angles. So it's interesting here to see, actually, you know what, where do they go? Can we hold all of our long angles? The site setup, it's very good. Harv picking up a second, 30 seconds on the clock, but Timo will bring it back one.
He brings it back one, but Luna is there to make it one more. And that way we still have the advantage game by LDL. But when we talk about Timo, he's done it once, he will do it twice. And Yuga also moved in. He's on pillar, and they know for a fact Aluna is in cafeteria. Now that Sakurai is in cafeteria, he's withdrawing his position a little bit, but we are forcing him, and Timo gains on the triple kill. He's not on the plant, and it's only Luna. He is not having a position that he can play from above, so that plant will go through. It's Timo and Yugo against Luna, and they know for a fact where he's coming from, but the thing is, you don't have to leave the time in the perspective of Timo, because he still has 2 more death marks left, and he will definitely spot you out because Luna will be pinged out. But Yugo doesn't need the time, because as soon as Luna shows himself, he's getting picked up and killed on through.
Yeah, I mean, it's very strange. It's a really interesting round that I think boils down to SilentFamily. They just won their gunfights towards the end. That execute onto site. Luna, they did very well to take out the vert, but I think one of the big issues with them rotating around was that they didn't take out the vert quick enough. And I think LDL, they can take something away from that round and say, do you know what, we did have a good roam game. We were able to actually contest that right until the death. But then the flip side of it is they need to have that roam game come another 30, 40 seconds earlier in the round.
But I'm somehow speechless how LDL is known to be good in both mid-scale and big-scale maps. They completely have fallen off. Yes, they had their struggles against SilentFamily on their own map pick. Yes, you lost your map pick, but since you lost that map pick and had a 2 or 3 minute pause that we had to just regather and just refocus back up as casters and also in the production team, and right of that moment, it just felt like LDL completely the last drops of confidence and also game flow that they had was completely lost in the process. And I have the feeling of LDL are not capable of going this back, because there's not only a few lacking points, but SilentFamily is completely up in their faces, and there's nothing that LDL has done so far to give an answer to that so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting couple of factors. I don't think there's anything functionally wrong with their site setup. They're not losing it on tactics. I think they are just losing it on mechanics, which isn't something you would have predicted before the match had started. I think a lot of people were in agreement. Maybe the mechanics on LDL were slightly stronger. Well, Silent Family, you know, constantly, they've played this map 5 times in this competition. Now, admittedly, they've not won all of them, but that's a wealth of experience that is absolutely invaluable in attacking this map. And you can see they've got kind of their attacking workflow in order. The first kill that will come through, that's Hugo. Hugo's been an incredible impact sub, rotating into the lineup in favor of Rogo. This game, I think you can't sing their praises enough.
Yeah, Hugo has a massive impact, and I would say that's so smartly played out by Silent Family. They have Valuna in the hands of Vigil. Vigil, the only operator that you can't ping freely with the death marks of Deimos, and you immediately mock him out of position. You had a ping on him where he was currently positioned at. You try and death mark him out. He needs to pull down his ability and roam away, and immediately you catch him off guard because he's roaming immediately in the hands of Hugo standing on top. Osprey don't forward into basement, and that was somehow unexpected. And that way you kill our Luna. But the answer from Hob is coming close, and Elias is there to gain the opportunity and also the advantage for LDL with the most badass shotgun we have in Siege. That shotgun is not to be made fun of because it's the strongest in the game, and it's an immense weapon in the hands of both the smoke, a mute,
Absolutely.
but not only also that warden.
Yeah, Guten Tag, says Ilias, saying hello with both barrels there, but he'll get fragged back out as Shinji picks up the refrag. 3v3, we've been here so many times before. Silent Family, 30 seconds on the clock. They do have diffuser in hand, and I do believe they have just opened up the breach. What can they do with it from here? 20 seconds left. LDL searching for something to stem this hemorrhage of rounds. They've got the Goyo canister. That's good for 20 seconds, and that'll die out just before the end of the rounds. We could be looking at a bit of a post-one scenario, but Hugo, not a sub at all. One of the main roster, he'll push in, and he'll establish that covering fire. Madari, Harv, not able to push past it. Hugo looking for those frags. He'll put Madari down on the ground. Harv looking for it desperately for a frag, but Hugo, he'll clutch it back out. 3v2, 3v0, as Silent Family take a 7th round on the bounce.
Okay, I don't know who Hugo is, but I know one thing, and that's for sure. Hugo has a personal problem with LDL because the way that he's approaching these gunfights is not, okay, guys, I will try to win us this round. He's like, however, he's going into these gunfights because you know for a fact the intel, okay, where he is currently positioned at, where really possibility to roam back into of maybe getting another angle or so. Every single time Hugo is there to force these scenarios. He's forcing these defenders, and all these gunfights just seem that he's just want to smack them every so ever. And I get the feeling of this isn't a matchup of saying, okay, we want our ticket for the grand final. This is somehow some personal things going on here.
Yeah. Before yourself, before the chat in the stream, and before Hugo themselves actually jumped down my throat. They're not a sub. They've been in the team from the start. When we're excited, we say some funny things, don't we? What I did mean to say is that I think maybe they've switched up their position in the team. I think they were maybe kept a little quiet. Were they maybe a support last time round? Were they, not playing on their optimal operators? Were they banned out from their favorites? I don't know. But on the Twitch and on the Ash so far today, and on the book over on Bank, they have been absolutely sublime. Genuinely faultless gameplay. That's absolutely fantastic from Hugo. We can't sing their praises enough. As we can't sing their praises enough of the entire Silent Family roster, because, like I say, they've now taken a map's worth of rounds off LDL unanswered. No one really, I think, would have been saying that before the game, would they?
Definitely not. But when we already talk about these numbers and these stats, we have played out 4 rounds so far, from start to end, and Hugo 8-2, making himself 2 kills each round. Now he won't get any more kills this round because he got shut down and caught off. But you traded Hugo for a Madara and a Luna top fragger, and Madara the top fragger from the recent maps. that these operators, they need to hurt. And we also have a Sakurai, another player that went very huge but won't enough on Bank with an 0-4. Once again, this 0-4 we've had before. Last time it was Elias, a Luna. Elias a little bit fallen off as well. Luna completely in his best manners. But Madara and also Sakurai, the two big guys of the last map, completely fallen off so far. And that is indeed not the thing that you need on a map like Concept when you need to come back and having a chance of still getting that tickle for the final. Because right at this moment, this here is screaming a flawless map turn for SilentFamily. They still have some pressure now, and LDL are looking a little bit stronger, closing off that area onto the bomb site, but still on the hand of SilentFamily. 1 minute is more than enough. They have previously shown they don't need much time to gain access and then gain control and going for these executes.
Yeah, perhaps a timely rotate off for Timo there as the attack starts to slow down. Sakurai, they'll pick up their second. They're having a good round after a very slow start to this map. 30 seconds on the clock. Maybe about 40 HP on the Twitch on a very fraggable gun on the F2. They've got a chance now to try and clutch this out and send us to 5-0, but it's gonna take a little bit of doing. 20 seconds on the clock now. They're searching for that first pick. That one will set the momentum, but they're kind of backing off a little bit. They're expecting LDL to push. LDL, I think the comms will be saying, we don't need to push, right? We've got 3v1. We know where they are. We've got the timer. Maybe take a peek, but no risks. And you'll see that as the timer ticks down, and LDL, they'll play it safe. They'll take a round. And finally, after 8 rounds, they've picked up one. In the last 8 rounds, Mighty, we're 7-1 for SilentFamily.
And these stat lines speak completely for themselves. Finally, though, it's, I would say, if not one, but it is definitely that one thing that we mentioned LDL needs to do. They not only need to be aggressive and put pressure on Silent, but they need to be that team that said, okay, we will not only bring pressure, but we will force you back. We will force you in your position of making you stay stuck in that position of saying, okay, well, you're trying to force us out, and you're trying to maybe gain a kill or two. We will be in the position of saying, okay, you can enter, but as soon as you enter, we will try and push you out of the building again. And that way, you suppress the game flow and also like the quick pace that SilentFamily has bringing so far of immediately and also quite early getting access to very big key areas of the map in both top floor and also in the mid section of the map. That was closed out a little bit. It took up the game flow. Then you disrupted a lot of time of the clock of SilentFamily. And then when they try to do the last attempt onto site, you get intel, you get the yellow pings, then you swing, and that's the LDL. The coordinated LDL with a lot of force with these mechanical skill that we know. The big question now is the first answer in round number 5 of possibility 12 rounds of regular on a map that you so desperately need to win to have a possible chance of going decider. For my personal opinion, that is a little bit too late of an answer.
Stranger things have happened. I'll leave it at that. Stranger things have happened. I'm not going to say you're right, I'm not going to say you're wrong. You know what I mean? Strange things have happened. One of the things that is ever present in this map, though, in this series, is Yugo. Yugo is inevitable.
You can say whatever you want, but sorry, this shit is personal for Yugo. He is not finished, as he's not only taking up Madara, sending Madara 06, as that has never happened before, but also takes half with him before he gets put into the grave once again. And also now Sakurai has to been taking a lot of damage. Timo putting a lot of pressure together alongside Shinji on just saying, okay, we will push you in and we will push forward and wanting to gain more area for ourselves.
Yeah, it's slow round so far, I think. A couple of frags coming out, but the momentum now is, you know, it's pretty slow. The intel's there though for the attackers, so they know where these defenders are. They're going to start pulling back onto site, doing what we saw them do on Bank, where they're inviting SilentFamily to take the space. But that's not really worked for them so far on Consulate. 4-1, as you say, it's a very precarious position. They can pull it back if they need to, but it's going to take some doing. It really, really is.
It'll take a lot of it from LDL to bring this back on a 4-2. As we are just closing in, and we're closing out yet another defender. That is Luna, picked up by Marks. Now Elias is there to down Marks. Is he able to conclude that kill, or is there one guy coming in close? Yes, there's another one coming close. That is a huge double kill coming in on both Marks and Timu. But Glock has already saved the day once more again for SilentFamily, killing out the Enzo Zechariah, and also that Goyo canister pop is important as he's closing off the back roam in from Elias. Now he needs to drop in and push through. That diffuser has been dropped, and Glock is down beside the bomb, and he's ready to not only lock out but also then kill out the remaining player of LDL, taking it onto a 5-1 roll swap after the first half. And this roll swap is not only speaking SilentFamily, it's not only screaming SilentFamily, it's deserving SilentFamily, as all the rounds that they have somehow won are not only well thought through, they're well executed, and there are not only those two things, they are completely well secured out as well.
Yeah, I think the proof of the pudding that it's a good execution. It's not just the fact that they're winning. It's the fact that 4 of the 5 rounds there that they won are post-plant scenarios. So they executed so well that not only did they, I mean, all of them, they ended up winning by frags, ultimately. But 4 of them, they managed to actually get the diffuser down on the ground, activated, on site. You can see there, LDL, when they're roaming, their players are actually doing quite well. They're trading outwards, they're trading upwards, picking up 2v1s and things like that. But the issue is they're only doing that off-site. On these long angles, I think SilentFamily, they've maybe got a little bit of peeker's advantage or something like that. They're just swinging, they're committing harder, they've got a bit, a better droning game than they previously have. They're doing so much better, I think, than LDL on the actual site, so that when it does come to that post-plant scenario, LDL are having to fight through their own site setup. You saw it there, a shotgun armed mute trying to fire through a long angle at 2 rather angry SF defenders.
I just want you to ask another question. Do you think, I would somehow say, LDL has gotten everything so far against their favor? They have been disrupted in the game full. They have been smacked multiple times now. Not only by Hugo, but they have been hit multiple times of saying, okay, you gotta regain your own site setup multiple times. You have to play out post-plant scenarios where you don't have a standing chance of just trying to disrupt those plans of going down. Do you think LDL has what it takes to come back in this matchup, or do you think it's a little bit too late? You have to put in that reserve tank of fuel.
Do you know the LDL that we've seen through the competition? Yeah.
For tonight's LDL?
See, now you catch on to where I was going. The LDL we're seeing so far tonight? No. I don't like calling the game early. I think it's, unprofessional. I think it's rude. But I just, despite them picking up, and getting these refrags, I just don't see them taking down this committed SF team. Ilias going down to Luna, down to Sicaria again. 1 minute on the clock. And, one of them's not in the building, the other one's on their own. So they're separated. And this is what I was referring to earlier, where they're just not got the coordination that I think you need to conduct these pushes. And that's a huge swing that comes out to make it 2v1. And Luna will get a kill of their own to make it 1v1. The intel's there. The call went out. And Marks will send us not just to map point, not just a series point, but to lower bracket point.
Low bracket point already in round number 8 of the second map is not only more than we all expected, but it's a complete shocker. The shock all began with Bank lost by LDL. and it's completely continuing unconscious. I'm some more than just speechless of what's just happening here.
Defenders, protect
Once
your
again, it
bombs from
looked
being
so
defused
good
by attackers.
by LDL. The game plan was there. There was an idea, but in that case, when you somehow had an idea, you somehow had a regain back of the advantage, you then yet another time find a way of making it slip away and slipping out of your hands. And SilentFamily once again take that round not only for granted, but say, okay, we fight for every single inch and nook, and we will fight for it not only to hold it as much as we can in time, but we will also try and give our best of fighting it back. And that, my dear friends, is the little inch, the little more load of coal in that steam engine that is pushing SilentFamily ahead of LDL.
Yeah, they're doing really well at like kind of separating these attackers and, you know, pushing them off of their own game. LDL, they don't seem like they've got the appetite to really go ahead and make these rounds theirs. Like they're gonna go ahead, they're gonna start popping out these bandit charges. No trick coming out because of the threat of the Maverick, but Hugo will pick off the Capital, so that's gonna be an effective early frag. They'll escape again. These kind of kills being picked up really early with no response. Luna responding elsewhere, but the Roma escapes, and I think that's one thing where LDL are really falling down. They're not able to capitalize on these kind of early kills. They've not got these crosses set up. Their roam clear game, it's not really there. So however good your droning is, if you're pushing in 1s and 2s, you're not going to be able to bounce back. You go, they'll take a little bit of damage. They'll escape again from that gunfight and go unpunished.
How the hell is Sekiro already on site and he's moving through and he's completely blindsiding Senji? And that way we have gone back. Now the kill coming in by Marks. He's just pushing through that castle wall. Also, the plan has been done. Luna gets an next kill to Marks. Madara gets a kill on Gluck. And this is finally a good round for LDL with a huge execution. And Yuga has to fight his way back. And Madara is all the way in the hallway into that small room of arcades. And he's gaining the visual onto Hugo and shutting him down for once. As finally, also Madara puts himself on the scoreboard and not only shows himself upon the scoreboard, but manifests himself a little bit. It is a life sign by LDL, and it's a huge one as it's so desperately needed. But I'm still not convinced that this LDL is able to fight it back.
Attackers need to
They've not won you round, no? And I don't blame you. I don't blame you, to be honest, because, you know, we are seeing an LDL side not playing at the top of their capability, and we're seeing an SF side, you know, playing out their minds. I mean, I've just listed in my notes Hugo, man of the match. You know, regardless of how the game goes, you know, absolutely an MVP of the match so far for me. Playing out their minds. Huge amount of, you know, huge fragging potential, you know, unanswered frags, you know, picking up one, wasting time, doing really well. LDL not really having those answers, pushing in these dribs and these drabs, as I said earlier, and it seems like there's a lot less of an attacking strategy from LDL than there is coming out from SilentFamily. But you know what? They picked up a round there, so you know it's not all doom and gloom. It is very, very possible that we will see a bounce back come from LDL. But as I said to you earlier, stranger things have happened, but it's going to take a lot.
And will definitely take a lot, as the way back into possible overtime is still very far for LDL. But hey, never write off a team that is standing with their backs against the wall, because then when they need to perform, they often perform the best.
Exactly the point.
Well, let's see what the first answer of LDL is in round number 9, as they have the yellow ping onto that Aruni in the hands of Glock. But there is some engagements happening by Madara, but there's no bullets coming through.
Loading new magazine.
Yeah, good use of the utility there from Blocker. You know, using it reactively rather than just whacking it all down early, as I think a lot of people are wanting to do, using it to kind of react to what LDL are doing and react to the push. So that's really good there. You see top floor, roam clean coming out, Mandari. Almost about to go toe-to-toe with Synergy. But now, they're not even going to look at them. Oh, that's awful. That's poor, that. You can't let them get away with that. You've got to at least take the gunfight, but it will get traded back out by half. But again, these roamers, I mean, that's not even a roam. That's on the site. They're pushing solo. There's no response. If you could have waited, you could have put a bit of pressure from above, maybe had someone rotating down yellow stairs, and you've got a cross. You can pen them in. Nothing like that, and this is where I say the strategy from LDL is not conducive to picking up these exit frags. It's not conducive to responding in turn. They're still not on the ground floor. We've still got a minute left. There's another kill. Comes through for Glock.
Glock with another huge round. He's like, I would say, that anchor player for SilentFamily as of this round. And now Elias is in the beeper of Teemu. Teemu only needs the patience for a C4 for Elias. Elias is in close, dead near of his own death being drawn in. He should hear the C4, but he walks through, and that way we have Teemu gaining a kill. And now it's only the man left with Harvey against 3. He has diffuser in hand, gets the first kill on Glock, but is he able to close it off? He is on site. He has the possibility. There's one guy close on Piano Hallways. Also, Teemu has recovered himself from basement, and he is all aligned and assigned with his side buddy of Sinji. And Sinji is moving through, and he gains a kill. The diffuser's down. There's 40 seconds left and remaining for the defuse, and that means and screams we will have a round after this. And this is the very last one. Round number 9 is the end of LDL's run here at ESA Season 9 Lower Bracket Final. Their masters found in the favor of SilentFamily. SilentFamily winning map number 2, 7-2, sending Leonard's Defensive home for Season 9 and taking their ticket for Grand Final this Sunday, meeting MVG.
I mean, yeah. What do you say? What do you say to that? I mean, that was comprehensive. You know, that's 14 rounds to 6 if you go across the entire series. It's insanity. You know, to take on the number 1 seed and just, you know, comprehensively destroy them in the manner in which they did. At one point, you know, taking 7 rounds on the bounce. LDL, they never really got back into the game on that second map. A map, you know, the second map that SF have taken off them, where LDL maintained a 100% record. So, you know, it just shows the scale of the victory that SF have enjoyed today. You know, proving all the doubters wrong, including myself. I'll hold my hands up to that. I think the whole team, they really pulled together and they played absolutely fantastically, and have really, you know. It's a bit of a cop out to say they've booked their place in the grand final. You know, they didn't even book it. They just went ahead and straight up earned it. What a fantastic display. And I mean, let's just hope we can see something equally competitive when it comes to the grand final this weekend, because that'll be a rematch against MVG, and that'll be a spicy proposition.
That will be a spicy proposition, and I dearly hope that the SilentFamily that we saw today is the same SilentFamily that we will see this Sunday against MVG, because we got to keep in mind MVG won 2-0 against SilentFamily last time, and I pretty much hope that we won't have that scenario once happening again. It is a best of 5, so there should be a possibility of an 3-0 for MVG. But let's hope that this SilentFamily, we don't need to hope them. That's something that I can definitely bring to you guys and promise you. If this SilentFamily is presented at this Sunday against MVG, we will definitely at least see 4 maps, if not 5 maps. Because this SilentFamily was not only convincing, what it was speaking, a very earned out final ticket in the grand final. So I hope that they can stick to the performance. They have a little bit less than a week time to just maybe look into what went wrong against MVG. Maybe prep a little bit better for MVG of saying, okay, we will have a fair chance. We will work our way into how MVG played us and how MVG plays in general to be better prepped for the grand finals. And I'm just happily to see and be a part of how that match will go.
Yeah, it should be an absolutely rip-roaring match. That both teams incredibly match, and then you've also got not only the underdog story of SF coming back through the lower bracket, you've also got the fact that these two teams played each other. MVG knocked SF to the lower bracket, so many little storylines. They're all just going to meld together this weekend, and there's only one place you're going to be able to watch it, and that's here.
That is indeed here, and I will just say, as I know for a fact, I most likely will be a part of it, so I will definitely see you on this Sunday. But for today, unfortunately, it was it, and I would only say, GG well played, LDL. Thank you for participating in this season 9 of ESA Cup. I hope to see you back at season 10 as our new anniversary season. So finally, double digits also here at the ESAs. But then until that time, I would say I was Mighty. Thank you for joining in. I had the best co-commentator for this evening, Delta on my side. And of course, we can't do these streams with only 2 casters. We always have some more guys in the back area. So we have our dearest Void Leah on the production, and we have Rowan on the observing. Thank you so much, guys, for giving us the opportunity of casting alongside you guys here in the full production at ESA. But for this, I will say, have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we shall see each other and speak each other at Sunday when it's grand finale time here at ESA. Until then, bye-bye.